and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, then a little introduction. This is a place to share stories, adventures, and everything I wish I had known before embarking on them. My name is Drina, and you're watching From Fiji to Here. Now, before we get to Iceland, we need to start from the beginning. Getting to Iceland was half the battle for this trip. You see, this video is the start of a series taking us through over 20 countries in just under 3 months. So there's a couple things that need to be pointed out. First of all, welcome Sierra. Yep, she's back in the videos, and if you don't know who she is, check out the Girls Trips playlist to get a little more of an introduction. Or if you'd be interested in me interviewing her, leave that down below and I'll try to convince her to do a video together. Second of all, we'd only booked a layover in Iceland. 26 hours to be exact. Which, I know, is not enough time for such a large country. Not really enough time for any country. But this trip is what I like to call a box of chocolates. We wanted to get a taste of each of the countries to find out how much more we wanted or felt was needed. Now, we can go ahead and get started with the video. So, Sierra, what just happened?
We had to change our plans and we haven't even started yet.
Flight's been canceled. That's right. We got the notification on the way to the airport that our flight to Reykjavik had been canceled due to weather in Iceland. We pulled over to a Tim Hortons where we waited to find out when it would be rescheduled, if it would be rescheduled, but after a couple hours of hearing nothing from the airline and getting an automated message when we tried to call customer support, we decided to head back to my parents' house where we had been staying and await our destiny. So we waited. And waited.
Try again.
And waited. Finally, we got through to customer support. Which is when we learned that there were no flights getting into Reykjavik for the entire weekend. Remember that part where I said we only had 26 hours in Iceland? Well, that meant that even though they would rebook us a flight into Reykjavik, we would still be missing our outbound flight, which they would not refund or change free of charge. We accepted the new inbound flights and got to work trying to reschedule our bookings in Iceland, which huge shout out to both the Blue Lagoon and Lotus Car Rental, who were super understanding of the situation and accommodated our changes with no problems or additional charges. Yay! Back at the airport, and we were on our way.
All right, here we go. For real this time, right?
After picking up our car rental, we made the drive from the airport to Reykjavik, where we'd stock up on food and coffee for the next 26 hours, as well as stretch our legs, since we hadn't really gotten much of that from the plane ride.
And look what Drina's doing! Focusing on the road, of course, at all times.
It's cool that we get a discount on gas.
Yes.
That is sweet.
Alright, so on this side, we have rocks and sunshine. And then on this side, on Drina's side, we have gloomy. Yeah! Those glasses are supposed to go over my glasses. She already lost her sunglasses and it's only like hour 1 into the trip. But we got the ocean on that side.
Although cold and rainy, we tried to make the most of the city and see what we could before bundling up back in the car to drive to the Golden Circle. Our first stop was Thingvellir National Park. One of the most frequently visited tourist sites in Iceland. It's easy to see why. Even with so many visitors frequenting this park every day, if you took the time to walk down the paths and hike deeper into the park, You felt alone in this huge amount of space. Just you, surrounded by nature. The mountains looked bigger and the water cleaner, and even the air smelled fresher. But that might have just been because I was in the same clothes for the past 24 hours. The park is well known for a couple of reasons, with maybe the biggest being that it's home to the boundary between the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates.
Alright, so we are standing on one plate. Behind us, that really tall wall over there, is another plate. Very slowly, two plates are going to hit each other, and that either means they're going to cause mountains by going up, or they're going to cause earthquakes and things going down. So this plate's really low and that plate's really high. This one's eventually going to go down into that plate right over there.
Stop number 2, the Geysers in Hakka Valley. I don't know about you, but when I think of geysers, I think of dinosaurs and the Land Before Time. Again, no idea why this memory is tied to them, but oh well. I figured that they would be cool to see, knowing the science behind them, but they ended up being one of the few experiences that were bigger than I thought they'd be. We took a final planned stop at Gulf Falls Waterfall, another favorite spot along the Golden Circle. The waterfall is actually made up of 2 separate waterfalls that cascade into one another, and we were lucky enough for it to produce a rainbow that day. The falls are now owned by the Icelandic people, but not that long ago, they were privately owned by a farmer by the name of Thomas, who was approached with an offer from an investor to buy the falls so he could profit off of them. You see, the businessman Howell wanted to use the waterfall's energy to fuel a hydroelectric plant. Thomas did, however, lease the land to Howell, who found a loophole in the contract and was going to go about it anyway. Luckily, Thomas had a daughter who did everything she could do to dissolve the contract, including threatening to throw herself over the waterfall if construction were to begin. She dedicated all of her time and money into traveling back and forth to Reykjavik and legal fees, but in the end she did win, and you can find a plaque in her honor on the site of the waterfall just as you walk down the stairs. What better way to end a long 24 hours on a plane, followed by driving the Golden Circle, followed by taking an unknown adventure down a side road, which ends up taking 3 hours because it's a dead end, as well as you having to go to the bathroom on said side road, except there's no shoulders in Iceland, so you just kind of have to stop in the middle of the road, put your four-ways on, and hope that no one hits you as you go and relieve yourself in a large field where anyone driving by could see you as they drive. Not only this happening once, but twice.
So we are off the beaten path, and we are finding absolutely lovely views, but we don't really know where we're going. We're just driving, and this is what we kind of pictured Iceland to be in, my mind. Bam, Iceland.
We saw the mountains
Except-
and thought we would go up them, apparently.
Yeah.
Sierra's completely neglected the fact that I had to pee.
Seriously? Pee on the side of the road.
Luckily, Iceland is so large that cars on the road outside of the Golden Circle are few and far between, and we didn't get spotted nor hit. So yes, what better way to end a day like that than at the Blue Lagoon Resort and Spa? I read a lot of reviews saying that it's overpriced or overcrowded, or forums claiming that the photos looked photoshopped, so that the water was more blue than it actually was. But after living with the regret of not going on a gondola in Italy, I had to take my chances. I'm also forever glad I did, because we chose a later time slot, which not only saved us money, but very few people were there with us. we had only had 26 hours in Iceland? Well, we landed at 6 a.m. and we're flying out at 8 a.m. By the time we left the Blue Lagoon, it was close to 11 p.m. and we hadn't booked accommodation, seeing as A, how expensive it can be in Reykjavik, and B, how much money we spent on the car rental. We'd figured we could just sleep in the car for one night. How bad could it be, right? Very bad. Not only was it the middle of April, so it was cold to begin with, but the temperatures dropped significantly more at night. On top of that, I had just showered, so my hair was now damp against my head in a freezing cold car. Despite wearing 6 layers and 2 pairs of socks, we called it quits around 4 a.m. and headed in to sleep on the benches inside the airport. I paid for my decision for the next week with a wicked cold. That sums it up for country number 1 of this adventure. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, as well as any videos you'd be interested in seeing. Also, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to follow us on the rest of our journeys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next destination. Bye, guys!
They are driving in the middle of the road now. Instead of Bad Liar, this song should be called Bad Driver.